So here we are the morning after our first Enduro race run with our 2006 Chevy Cobalt. And as you can see, she's still mostly together, a couple new dents and scratches. And yes, that is a busted aluminum spindle. Yet impressively, it's still driving. Drove off the racetrack and even drove onto the trailer, and I'll probably drive it off the trailer into the garage here shortly. So just want to kind of show and mention what I learned. It was, first off, it was fun and it was wild. Dirt track, Knox PA, yesterday, June 21st, 2025 is when I ran it. Sorry if there's a lot of static on the mic. It's pretty windy today, but I wanted to show this or make this video before I got her off the trailer. But it was a blast. It was dusty. In fact, it was so dusty when you went into turns 1 to 2, you could not see. It was like a scene out of Days of Thunder, if you guys are movie fans and remember that iconic movie where he's full speed around the top and, you know, can't see anything and he gets through. That's what it was like. You went in there, it was like your eyes were closed. You were entering turn 1 out of like feel from the first lap or 2 and hoping that everything went well and nobody was sideways. Otherwise, I'm probably going to T-bone them at 50 or so mile an hour. So it was wild. But I want to show, before I get to like what I learned and my thoughts, I want to show and also mention what I learned in the build. And again, straight stock build, and what I meant by that is the tank is stock, even the muffler stock, and yes, the aluminum spindles are stock. And again, these Cobalts, I've really grown to them for derbying. The little 2.2 Ecotech motor is a good motor. Frame rails, I would say not the hardest of the compacts, but I would say of the upper tier, solid, and the motor takes heat. I mean, right up there with the Hondas and even the Camrys, in my opinion. It's just a tough little car. And they seem to be plentiful. They seem to rust out about 12 to 15 years, so they're readily available, but I've really warmed up to them. However, the spindles are aluminum, and they, of course, are just trash. So the steel spindles, excuse me if I can say it right, off the Cavalier in particular in the early 2000s, but also I believe the Sunfire will also work. That's how you got to run them if you want to have any sort of really kind of legitimate challenge, you know, be out there for a while, take more than just a little bump. I knew they wouldn't hold, and sure enough, they didn't. So I think I got around 50 laps, and interesting enough, I thought it was the outside wheel, as again, you're always making a left turn on the oval, that would snap because more pressure and tension would be on it. But it was the inside one, roughly 50 laps in. I took a couple kind of door checks accidentally. I messed up and cut my right tire down. Shout out to Chase Cobalt, and I think it was Adams. I can't even remember who else it was that helped me. We changed a spare tire on the fly. I pulled into the pits, changed it, then got back out. So appreciate that. But this guy broke, and again, you just got to have steel there, whether it's a derby or even the dirt track. Just that pressure and all that, you know, kind of extra weight going on those spindles, it just won't hold. So that's the first and major lesson, which I really knew that. I wasn't sure if I'd like the Enduro racing, and I kind of was just throwing this together quick. So that's why I left it stock. But yep, that's the big one. The other things I learned, I had the rear view mirror put in there, and I just used a self-tapping screw, just unscrewed it from the window when I cut it off. Used a self-tapping screw long enough to go up in, and held great. However, from the vibration and just the, you know, bouncing up and down, that thing was moving all the time, referring to the actual mirror. It wasn't moving from where it was mounted, but the mirror kept changing. So in the future, what I thought would be smart to do is I could just reach up and real quick kind of adjust it, but there's a lot happening on the track in a short amount of time, and you're trying to be as fast as possible. I would imagine if you super glued it, get it to the position you want it, and then super glued it right where the arm there kind of attaches to the mirror itself so that it's locked, that would probably be best. So that was something about 3 laps in. I'm like, well, there's a lesson learned. But really, that's it. Again, stock tank, no issue. Stock muffler, that is no issue. It was really just the spindles. So those are kind of the lessons learned. She is going to have a second run. Absolutely. I'll certainly derby it after I'm done, but I want to at least do one more, and then I'll probably offer it up to my brothers and a couple guys I know if they want to try it before I derby it. But I'll put the still spindles on moving forward. But now just to kind of go around and show, and I'll pop the hood as well, the pins here up front, worked great. No issue, never came off or loose or anything, so no problem at all there. The fencing that I used, you can see how it's pretty small. Wasn't a big deal, like I could see fine through it. However, a lot of the guys there, and you know, this kind of makes sense, having the bigger spacing, almost like the bigger squares, so it's still protecting you from anything coming in, but in particular it's just easier to see out of. Again, it wasn't a huge deal. It was something I had lying around that worked. I didn't have to buy anything or spend more money on it, other than the oil and the air and oil filter that I bought. Other than that, everything's stock on it, tires and everything. But that was something else. And again, I mentioned how I put like a bar under the middle there, so that that's not so kind of sloped in, but it didn't vibrate or kind of flex during the derby at all. Not an issue. Had the GoPro there at the top. I'm going to see if it recorded. It actually stopped before I stopped it, a little bit after the Enduro race. So I'm not sure if that recorded. We'll see. As I mentioned, I was starting to get a little bit of rhythm, definitely a little bit of a skill to it. I would kind of enter the turn, kind of hit the brake and start a little bit of a back end slide, and then you kind of try to gas through. I actually started using my left foot on the brake, right foot on the gas, so that I could kind of feather the gas constantly as I was kind of braking a little bit through the turn if I was starting to drift up into the turn and got into the looser stuff. But it was fun. The guy came in too fast, got into my front on my driver's side door here. No big deal. I was like, oh man, I drifted up a little bit. I'm like, he didn't get my tire, did he? He didn't. You can see where it looks like maybe the corner of his bumper or something got me, and then kind of just pressed the door. Not a big deal. I kept going. Other than that, never got ran into the back, never got, I never ran into or spun anyone out. I did have, unfortunately, I was going inside a guy. You can see this damage here, a little bit of a dent, as well as this press, and it's ultimately what cut down my first tire. This is the spare I took that I got changed. I think I only lost 7 or 8 laps whenever we did it. I thought we did it pretty quickly in the pits with just the tire quick change and got back out. But I was coming inside a guy, and he like really slowed down. So whenever I started my kind of braking a little bit of a slide to try to hold speed, he almost was like slowly just cruising through it. So I drifted up a little bit and I got into his driver door, kind of like the guy did to me. I'm like, oh man, I'm sorry. Lesson learned. I can't be entering a turn like that, because if the guy's not carrying the same speed as me and drifting up a little bit, well, I'm gonna get into him, possibly cut my tire down, etc. Well, this guy then, he like turned down into me, like clearly turned down into me, like he was mad at me. I'm like, man, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. Well, whenever he did that, he turned down in, got into my fender, and I could hear the tire blow. And I'm like, man, come on, like I didn't mean to do it. I was just, you were like, drive faster, man. And lesson learned, I won't try to do it again. So a little bit of a bummer there, but again, it was fun. It was wild. The car is absolutely still perfectly fine, not only to race again, but derby. So just a quick look under the hood is, again, everything acted great. The kind of coolant here for the coolant radiator, as I call it, for the transmission, kind of made a nice mud catcher, so the radiator's clean. Rented there the device, which I mounted right here, the transponder, which they actually, I guess about 3/4 of the way through the transponder, something happened to the computer or something, and all of them got wiped. So they had to like naked eye try to figure out who were the ones that were at the top. And just to mention, there were 28 of us that started, not as many as last year. I think there was 42 last year there at Knox in the Enduro Race, but 6 actually finished the race. 2, I believe, was all that was on the actual lead lap, and the guy that they ended up splitting first because they couldn't with complete accuracy say who won. They ended up splitting first, so the first second money was split. They both got a first place trophy as the guy passed the leader the last lap, and they thought that was to get back on the lead lap, it is, but everyone else was saying no, he was on the lead lap, so that's what they ended up doing. So shout out to those guys. But yeah, inside, I mean, certainly got a little dirty. You can see how, again, inside I put the go over this way, I put the just floor mat over top of the battery, and then just put my excess kind of string there from the ratchet strap to kind of just keep it down so it didn't kind of move around. But got a lot of dirt inside, even with my racing helmet and visor. You can see just the dirt that was poured in. And the ratchet strap battery, by the way, was perfect. It worked great. But you can see the dirt in on the motor too. But again, a little 2.2 Eco, ran great. I think it was absolutely a good call. Changed the air filter, changed the oil filter, fresh oil in it. She ran great the whole time. She still runs great. There's a number of guys that threw their belt, blew up their motor, things like this. A little bit of everything took guys out. But yeah, again, the pins work great. The setup worked great. The race net worked great. So everything worked as it was intended to. The stock aluminum spindles, though, that come on these Cobalts, especially as they start to rust out, they're just not good enough. So I'd say a lesson learned, but we kind of already knew the lesson. I wanted to get out there and kind of try it out and see if I liked it, and maybe try it again before I derby her, and I think we're going to try her again. So that's it, just kind of a little bit of a story. It was fun, neat experience, check it off the bucket list. The derby that followed was good as well. Shout out to GSP, we appreciate them, and Knox Raceway for having not only the race but the derby. So we'll get her off the trailer and get those steel spindles on her and have another fun run, hopefully.